What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In this episode, we're back on that slammed Supercharged C10. Today, we're gonna be showing you guys the process, how to build a custom bench from start to finish. But in order to do that, we're gonna have to flash back to before we had the cab even mounted on the frame to the very beginning. This week, we're on Project Dime Bag with my boy Lee here from E3. We pulled him out of the shop to come and help us with our bench seat. So we got our bare bench seat here that we've done a bunch of modifications to, and it's finally time to get this thing into a format he's gonna be able to wrap it. So we picked up some bolsters here from Snowden Upholsteries.
Yeah, Snowden Upholsteries.
He's got some really cool seats at a really affordable price, but you gotta wait like a year and a half for them. That doesn't really work for us, so Lee picked up a kit and he's gonna go ahead and start getting this thing to fit. This is the same kit we used on ChaChing, right?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah, so that's how I met Lee and the boys over at E3, and they have yet to let us down. So we got him back out here again. First step is he's gonna start forming a bottom cushion on there. We're probably gonna be getting this thing into the cab, sitting on it, making sure it's at a good height and everything. The owner's a little taller than me, so we got to make sure he's going to be comfortable. We also got a bunch of other stuff that he's going to be taking with him. We don't usually get to see stuff like this on our channel because, as you guys know, we don't do upholstery. We're more of a fabrication performance, but I think you guys would appreciate the amount of work and detail that Lee is going to put into all the items that are going back into the interior. So first step, we're going to start getting this thing laid out. Now we got the seat in place, and as you see, the bolster, it's pretty overwhelming, man. It kind of swallows the whole cab. Not to mention, we laid out our shift lever to be as close to the actual frame as we could. May have to do a little clearance on that too. So now what Lee's saying, we could take out some of this material out of the back and slide the whole bolster towards the back of the cab.
I got the marks about where I want my insert width to be in my dimension. Sort of centered with the steering wheel, but to make it really like centered and symmetrical, we feel like we'd be adding too much foam right here without the design and making the seat a lot smaller than it really needs to be. So we're gonna stick with that wider insert to give our legs some more room around the steering wheel because everything's a little tight with that and the pedal cluster. So what we're gonna end up doing now is we're gonna cut the foam and cut my insert out of this piece, so that way we can shave some off the bottom of the insert, drop it back in there, and glue on our sides, and then we're gonna create the bolsters out of the foam that's left up here. That way we get the same shape, and we're just gonna lower it down to give ourselves some more clearance. So let's get to cutting some foam and see how she fits afterwards.
He makes it sound easy. I don't know any idea what he's talking about. All right, so Lee has got his formerly one piece bottom bolster cut into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different pieces. He cut them and he tapered them, right? So
yep.
You basically cut the bottom off of them.
Yeah, I gave us a good 2.5 inch room.
It's like a piece of
clearance
cheese
in the front for our thighs to get around, especially the steering wheel, and hopefully drop a little height in the back. But I really didn't want to take too much out of where you actually sit for the padding. So I tapered it from about 2.5 inches to pretty much nothing in the back to just drop our insert down from our bolster sides. And then we're gonna test fit this in before we really go any further with it, see if we have to make any more cuts. If we like the way it sits, then what we're gonna do is we're gonna put our bolster kind of arch.
So now instead of using those gray bolsters, you basically made bolsters out of the actual material.
So then we're gonna try to replicate this, or as close to as we can, out of this foam by cutting another line right here at like a 45-degree angle to give us that other plane for the bolster piece. And we'll just make that right out of our side foam pieces. That way we keep the bottom cushion as low profile as possible and still give them as much comfort as we can. and clearance around the steering wheel, and awesome. Gives like some room for the pedals. So
Look at this. This is a professional at work right here. Does he know this thing's got a whipple on it?
all right, now we'll glue this stuff back together and cut our bolsters out, get our bottom cushion finalized, and then we'll throw that back on here one more time, mark out where all of our bolsters and our measurements are going to go on this backrest piece. We're probably going to use the gray bolsters that were sent with us for this kit because we don't really want to modify too much of this. There's not a lot between, you know, the back wall and where you're sitting, so we need that padding there.
Alright, so you already got your little slivers out to form your bolsters, and now what?
Yeah, I cut the slivers off the bolsters, and like I used some of the cover, right, and some of this excess foam to kind of push up and help my cover fill out right here. But I do want to take some of this sharp edge off of this thing because that's not how it's going to sit. It's not going to look like a big friggin' thing like that. It's going to be more rounded and shaped, sort of like that. So I'm gonna shave some of it off to give myself some room, and then I'm going to take an angle grinder to it, smooth this stuff out, put some new lines on there, some travel marks I call them, to keep my material pieces lined up when I'm sewing them together. That way when I can make my pattern, and then put all the marks that I need on the pattern pieces, transfer it over to the leather, and I'll sew up all the stuff to fit the cover to the foam. Cut apart, all the bolsters cut in there, everything foamed. I got my listing velcros all put in place, everything kind of glued back together, and this is basically our final fitment for the foam here. So the last minute check to make sure that everything looks good, that it felt good with the steering wheel in there.
It did feel good.
The backrest is the right height and all that stuff. And everything looks like it's coming together pretty good. So our next step would be to take this thing out, start marking it up, start making a pattern for it, and then make the leather cover to go over it. We're pretty close now.
We're gonna be doing some cool like designs in this, like ChaChing, kind of like a cascading diamond look, right?
Yeah.
And you're gonna pull that into the door panels.
Right. You got the door panels. The headliner's gonna get that cool little treatment too with the elongated diamonds. Basically, they're gonna start pretty small and they're gonna get wider and wider until they kind of split off into their own lines and waterfall over the front and back of this thing. That design looks pretty neat on this.
And then he's also going to be doing these just like a flat panel.
Yeah.
All right, so my next step is I'm going to get ahead and pop this stuff out. I'm going to bring these to you, and we're going to witness the pro at work. All right, took a little small break from the shop to come out to E3 Upholsteries to drop off some stuff to our boy Lee for dime bagged, as well as we're going to kind of check it out and see the process that's going on with him making the bench. But I think you're also going to see some pretty cool stuff while I'm in there, so let's go check it out. Old Mercedes, two old Mercedes, I think sweet. Lambos, old Camaro. All right, let's get back here and check out Lee. Mr. Lee! All right, so there's the bolsters that you guys seen us do the other day. So what you working on? Headliner? So this is it. This is the hide. This is the material for pretty much everything in the truck.
Yeah.
This is real leather.
Yep.
Woo! We fancy. Straight off a cow? That's a big ass cow, bro.
Yeah, it's a pretty big cow. Spine right here. When you see that little, like, you look for the neck area where they cut that out, and then these things kind of go down their legs. So this is probably his armpit area. This is the belly of the
beast.
From head to tail. And it's generally, I mean, this is some nice leather, and this is some cool supple stuff, so we're gonna be able to use a good portion of this hide. All this stuff kind of pulls out.
He's got the hide out. We're gonna do these panels. These are obviously very simple, and by getting these done today, we're able to bring this back to the shop, and we're gonna be able to keep moving. So Andrew's already in the cab doing some electrical stuff, so having this so he could start working on the dash and everything is kind of helpful. Plus, without these two panels, we can't get anything else in. So we're gonna get these done tonight, and that'll probably be it for me, but I don't know how late this guy gonna work.
This is another hide from another project, but I saved this one because it's a pretty cool scar on here. You can't see too much on the front. It's distressed leather. You can see a little bit of a scar right there. The distressed stuff makes the hide really usable all over the place, but
oh, wow.
This guy was in an injury or something
Holy
before.
moly.
So that's where he was cut, barbed wire or
stitched up.
something, and then stitched up, so you can see the hand stitching coming through.
That's really cool.
And then imprinted in there. So that's some of the stuff you deal with when you deal with some of the American hides or some of the lower quality stuff. You'll have a lot more scarring and things you got to kind of work around. And when you don't really see it on the front, and then you stretch it over a panel,
Yeah.
you can start to see all that stuff pop through. So you got a nice clean dash or a clean panel piece right here, and then you go and stretch this thing on.
Yeah.
You realize up.
But when you're working with the distressed leather, it's kind of cool. It's got a story to tell. So now he's got his pattern drawn out. Now you guys can kind of see what's going on here. Our diamonds are kind of cascading away into the abyss. Looks good, man.
Thanks.
And he's also got our panels glued up. So I was saying he lets this dry pretty much. I mean, you can't even see it's not coming off on me, but pretty much sticks.
Put it on. This is the perfect time to start working with in red right now. This is a pretty flat panel, so I'm not really too concerned with it sticking too much, but at least it gives me the ability to do something like this and do it all and be able to adjust it or whatnot. So we're trying to stay above this, I mean, just below this line, right around the whole area, and that'll cover all that stuff and give us enough room on the top sides to wrap around all that stuff. So somewhere right in there.
All right, we got our two flat panels done. I say we, but it was mostly Lee, obviously. But these are sweet, man. I personally have never done any leather panels on my dashboard like this, but I think it's gonna come out good. At this point, I'm going home. He's gonna stay working. He's gonna start stitching out our headliner. So I'm gonna leave him with a GoPro and some time-lapse footage so we can see him get down and get busy. Thanks, Lee.
You got it, buddy.
things are starting to get real quick. So we got our driver's side door panels wrapped. So these are getting ready to get back assembled with our new billet window level levers, as well as our door handles over here. So we're gonna get these things together, put our driver's side on. Let's check it out. All right, driver's side door panel is done. We got our new billet handle, window regulator, or window handle rather. And then I did add that Dynomat sound deadener around the perimeter and through the center of it, just so you don't end up having any kind of rattling. I think it looks pretty sharp, kind of goes well with the interior. And door shuts, door opens, and our window goes up nice and smooth. So, one more thing off our checklist. Let's keep it moving. All right, so you guys seen Lee custom make bolsters for our bench seat, and here he is. He has made the leather covers for the bench, as well as our sun visors and our headliner. Also back to make some templates for our custom carpet. So over here we got our bench that has been modified and painted, and here's the bottom section of the bench. Again, there's the custom bolsters he's made. So now he's back to actually wrap the bench. So I'm super excited. Let's let him get to work. All right, so now that we got our finished bench, and it is looking really good, it's installed in the truck. So at this point, the last thing we're gonna have to fabricate is our center console.
And you guys are gonna have to wait till next week to see that thing, as well as the rest of the interior come together, and we're gonna get some wheels on this thing. So as always, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting. We'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.